All right. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to whoever's in the world. You are streaming here on Twitter as well as on Twitch and on YouTube. Monday afternoon, 3:15 p.m. Pacific time, right on the dot. My fear, of course, as always, is the moment that I hit broadcast. There's gonna be a police chase. It's the only time in the day that I have available to catch up with you guys, and this is kind of pre pre rush hour promiscuous police chase timing, which we have been stricken some bad luck here in the recent past. But we are back. We hope to have another flawless show for you today. What's on your mind? This is Q&A, live Q&A. It's meant to be a content democracy. Say 6:15 Eastern, noon on the islands. What's happening? What's up, Peter? Asking about YouTube TV ad. Oh, I thought you were talking about AdSense for a second. That shit is ridiculous, man. And I would be quite hypocritical if I was complaining about the NBA's desire and necessity to flood your screen with ads because ads are essential to the business and the valuation of those franchises being so high and it pays the bills, right? We got to find a way. We have to find a way to make it more aesthetically pleasing. When you have three painted on the wood ads in OKC, it's the Michelob Ultra, which is adjacent to the benches, parallel to the rim, right next to the baseline. The Paycom, obviously, the Paycom Center is painted on the floor, as well as the YouTube TV ad, which the coaches stand on top of. But then they have the rotating ads, Castrol, Emirates, YouTube TV, and then the audacity to take a PNG file that you can find from simply typing in Larry O'Brien trophies and just copying and pasting that onto the screen. Like no one would notice that this trophy has 100% opacity, meaning it's shining brighter than anything that's on the screen, but it's transposed incorrectly. The layer took precedent over most things that like ran on top of it. It would still, like when the flag was being waved, the trophy was still popping on your television. It's brutal, man. It's really not that difficult. Even if you can't put the Larry O'Brien trophy at mid court with the big decal because players were complaining about it getting sweaty and slipping on it, you can do the digital printing of it. I would think with where technology is at, make it even worse that the trophy in the final script, it kept going off the screen then back on during replays because they could only do it for one of the broadcast angles. So anytime that they went to picture in picture, they went to an interview, they went to a replay, all of those digital graphics would not be on the floor, but when they would reappear when they go back to the traditional sideline angle. Oh, it's so bad. It's almost as bad. I forgot to take my little bird's nest of wires down. This is going into the closet, I promise, after this stream. What's happening? All right, let's see what else. Can I react to the bombshell report by Vince Goodwill that the Knicks' owner was running the exit interviews with the players and then quickly fired the coach who had just been given a 3-year guaranteed contract extension a couple of months ago by the front office? That's a very long sentence in question. What? This is why I laugh at like Knicks fans who are in their young to mid 20s because they did not grow up in a world where they had to deal with James Dolan implementing his influence on the highest level of decision making. He had taken a backseat to Leon Rose these past couple of years, but he cannot help himself. And if he was truly in that exit interview room, him, Worldwide Wes, Leon Rose, they're always going to have to bend to the will of James Dolan because when he says he wants something, he's going to get it. He's the governor of the team. The Knicks get to the conference finals. They let Tom Thibodeau go because someone doesn't like him. This would not be the first time that the New York Knicks front office has self-inflicted wounds, created a lower ceiling than what they had, and only time will tell. But I will trust Leon Rose in his back channeling of the Jason Kidd situation. So if you fire Tom Thibodeau, there's an expectation, I think, that the Knicks find a new head coach within 48 hours. Like, you're not making a move of that magnitude unless you have a plan in place and someone already lined up. And the Knicks still haven't hired a head coach. We've heard Jay Wright's dropped out. Michael Malone was kind of that CAA New York can take veterans to a championship fit. That doesn't seem like it's going to come to fruition as well. And now we're hearing Jason Kidd is being approached by the New York Knicks, which is going to take, I think, a separate transaction because of Giannis's loyalty to Jason Kidd and how much he loved playing for him. That if the Knicks do sign Jason Kidd, there's going to immediately be Giannis rumors to New York, with the Milwaukee Bucks pretty much having to make a move due to their cap situation with Damian Lillard on the mend. So James Dolan's influence would not be unprecedented for James Dolan himself. We've seen Matt Ishbia and Vivek Ranadive essentially become the team's presidents of basketball operations. They got to have their paws on everything that they do. They can't hire the guys to handle the job for them. And this wouldn't be the first time that overreactionary type moves have stymied the progress of a team that has taken a leap forward every single season with the New York Knicks. This has happened so many times in this PR re-imaging of James Dolan that has been wonderful on his behalf. Everyone thinks when he's pulling out of the game and giving out those game balls, he's had a lot of good press, but there is a very quick and easy way to ruin it, and is to interject yourself into basketball decisions, which has never, ever gone well for that franchise. So that is a long-winded way of saying I don't know the validity of what occurred or what's being reported, but I can tell you what happens if it's true. Obviously need to hear your takes on the match yesterday. Are you referencing Sinner versus Alcaraz? The women's was just as good, by the way. Sabalenka versus Coco. Sabalenka had one of her regressions mentally. I don't know why she gets so mad at herself. She's so much better than everybody else, too. It's mental game. Yeah, that match was Sinner. Sinner's up, 5-3, 3 championship points. Alcaraz is just fucking unbelievable. That fifth set reminded me of the final 15 minutes of Challengers and what Zendaya was hoping that her two boyfriends would actually do, and that's play good tennis. That was epic. They hit shots, man, that are just impossible for any other human to replicate. How Alcaraz is always going to be better on clay versus Sinner. And I think Sinner has a really good record against him on hard court, especially grass too. The ball slows down. You can't slide as much. And Alcaraz is so good at scrambling around and saving those shots on hard court. Sinner's forehand gets put away with a little bit more speed. He puts away those forehands because he's got more speed on the kick as opposed to clay. But that was a rough loss for him yesterday. Axel says, what's up, Wab? We finally see you enjoying some playoffs. Am I enjoying them? I guess I am. Yeah, these have been a fun playoffs. And the series going 7 games does not make it a fun series. The games still have to be close. I would consider that Eastern Conference Finals last year between the Celtics and the Pacers to be one of the more entertaining 4-0 sweeps. Those games were so tight. Could have gone either way, and we see why, because the Pacers now being in the finals. But SOS on Halliburton, Nesmith, and Nembhard. If it wasn't for that game-winning shot, what would the narrative around Halliburton be in these finals? He has been cut off from civilization. Do not let that box score fool you, because he filled it up at the very end. He has been irrelevant other than about 2.5 seconds in game 1. That OKC defense is historically awesome. They will be known because they're going to win this series in 5. That was the pre-series prediction. Sticking with it. They will go down as probably the best defense ever. They have surpassed the 2019 Toronto Raptors in the turnover differential. That margin they've got, they're winning by like 30 over the NBA historical mark before it. Just last night, they matched the Raptors in being the first team since them to have 5 players that score at least 15 points in a finals game. You can't dribble more than 3 times against those guys. They just fleece you. They strip you clean. Wob, how is LA currently? This is there's always protests and demonstrations in LA, and they're usually downtown. Do you guys understand how big LA is? So when you read these aggregated news sources that are like LA is on fire. Well, first of all, the city's been on actual fire before with the wildfires. Do you know how big LA is? The same amount of time it takes to get from New York to Philadelphia, it could take you to get from Newport Beach to San Bernardino. 2.5 hours. That's how big this place is. So those demonstrations yesterday were downtown. That's like an hour from me. It's gorgeous here. I was at the beach watching the news yesterday. So there's certain areas that are demonstrating and doing their thing. But that's not reflective of the entire city, any major city like that. Coach Mike says, nice shirt. Wow, Michigan race was good. I enjoy that track. I enjoy that track as well because it's got super speedway speeds without restrictor plate racing. So you get passing. Any race with passing is entertaining, right? And by the way, the shirt is NASCAR, not NASCAR. This Nashville race, it lost its ability for cars to pass. It was quite boring. But I like fuel mileage races. I like passing. I like driving actually mattering as opposed to like pack racing or even sometimes short track. That's my preference. That when there's defensive driving, it's necessary to hold off someone from passing you, and there's high groove with momentum coming out of turns versus the nose dive on the bottom. Michigan's a good track for that. The Knicks had no plan because Leon Rose wanted Tibbs. Yeah, that was a CAA thing. I just don't buy it. I need to know for sure that James Dolan is back to running things because I don't think Leon Rose would be there if that was the case. Is there any hockey or MLB action tonight? I do have some wagers. I will be watching the hockey. So I've been doing this thing with hockey where, shout out to Profit X, our partners, by the way. So I'm going to imagine Florida's minus 150 without even looking. Oh, minus 136. Wow. I think you just bang. Anytime someone's an underdog in this series, these teams are so evenly matched. I think you just bang whoever the underdog is. So like Edmonton plus 134, but there is certainly a strategy to laying the minus 1.5 plus 170. So it's like, I'm either taking Florida minus 1.5 or the dog, even though both of these series they've gone to at least one overtime, right? That payout though, you only have to be right once out of every a couple times to be profitable. Yeah, I think the strategy of just betting the dog, no matter who it is in this series, is probably the way. Home ice does not matter that much at all. So Edmonton going from like minus 115 to plus 134 because on the road just doesn't really translate for me. But my actual action is on baseball. I have the Cubbies plus 110. Okay, you could get that right here. I took the Cubbies, and I also took the Brewers. I'm going to fade Chris Sale because Atlanta's kind of in the muck right now. I did not get this good of a number. Sheesh. I have like plus 145, plus 150. But I'm on the Brewers, and I'm on the in the Cubbies, but I'll keep an eye on, like, if Edmonton's down, Edmonton goes down by 1, um, maybe scoop them live. What else you guys got? Thanks for asking, Armand. Flash Thunder. Did you take that from me? Wait a second. Flash Thunder. How did you? I assume you are a Saving Private Ryan fan too. World War II fan? Flash Thunder? Everyone knows Flash is the call sign for seeking out a friendly, right? During World War II, they would yell Flash. You don't yell Thunder back. You're getting the grenades. You're getting the bullets. Flash, Thunder. And do you guys know, I looked up the reason why they went with Flash and Thunder. Is it because in the German language, it's hard to say R's, I think? Thunder. Yeah. They wouldn't be able to enunciate the thunder if they were trying to replicate it. So they wanted to have a word that they would be able to siphon out who was putting on the facade of being an ally. There's so much great history and information out there. I love learning about that stuff. It's such a different time, and it wasn't even 100 years ago. Do you think people that were in World War II, by the way, did they think about the Civil War the same way that we think about World War II because it was nearly 100 years ago? Do they think about the Civil War? Were they thinking about the Civil War the same way that we look back on the Great War and World War II? That's a thought, right? Frank says the Knicks can't win a title with a 6'1" ball dominant guard. Well, the Knicks need to develop some depth. They can win with a 6'1" ball dominant guard, but they need some depth, and they need to learn how to play with pace, because Indiana is going to be their version of the Denver Nuggets having to deal with the Minnesota Timberwolves, who were designed to beat them. French people had to deal with Nadal so many years. Now another Spanish player. Yeah. Well, when they interviewed Alcaraz as a little kid, you've seen that video. He says, I want to win. Like, what's your goal? He's a little kid, and he says, I want to win the French Open and Wimbledon. Like the French Open, because they play on clay, and the Rome Masters. Like that's big for that area of the world. I would say the other continents are more focused on hard court. Which team could I see Giannis getting traded to that no one's talking about? It seems like the most logical destinations for him are going to be New York if Jason Kidd. I don't want that to happen. Honestly, I like the Knicks team as it is. I want to run it back another year. I love having Karl-Anthony Towns on the team. And he would have to go. And trading for Giannis is not easy, by the way. They can't aggregate contracts in Milwaukee because of the apron. So you're going to have to include multiple teams unless you move Karl-Anthony Towns. I'm just like, just run it back one more year, please. Now the Knicks are going to lose Precious Achiuwa, DeLon Wright, Landry Shamet. They're coming off the books, so you have to get them back somehow. And they're barely check the boxes of prerequisites for depth. But the team, like Giannis, could go to San Antonio. I guess the one that no one's talking about, Houston. It's just unrealistic, but San Antonio is going to trade for someone. It's either Kevin Durant or Giannis. Kyle says, since they are allowed to constantly foul, yes, they might be go down as a great defense. Well, that sounds like a complaint with your tone. And yeah, you're dealing with a bunch of veteran officials that have traditionally permitted physicality. And if they're going to allow physicality, it's going to favor Oklahoma City significantly more than Indiana. Needs Emhard being on the floor too. Like the difference between there's a sequence at the 5-minute mark in the first quarter that I've alluded to on SiriusXM a couple of times, but I'll just repeat myself. Look at the difference between high pick and roll action between the Thunder and the Pacers. The Thunder are able to get downhill with Alex Caruso setting a screen 40 feet away from the rim. Shea goes north-south, linear, right? Direct path. He's able to infiltrate the paint, get to the restricted area, and then he has all of those options at his disposal. Indiana is going east-west, sideline to sideline, when Shea is baseline to baseline. And when you go east-west laterally against Oklahoma City, you're dead. There's a reason why Cason Wallace is starting in place of Isaiah Hartenstein, and it's because the navigation of those high pick and rolls with Halliburton trying to get downhill is being met with dudes who can move their feet and stop him, beating Halliburton to the point of attack. He didn't have a bucket at the rim until well into the fourth quarter last night. That's not by choice. It's not by preference. That OKC defense just, you want to talk about choke, Tyrese? They're cutting you off. Your oxygen supply, you have been cut off from society against this defense. You can't put on the ball on the floor. You're playing a 3-dribble max rule like it's a game of one-on-one. So OKC forcing them to go east-west has been the complete epitome of this series thus far. They're so lucky they got a game. Can I explain why chases breed chases? Asks Alam Lara. CBC is a concept because when you actually get a chase, a police chase, all of the news choppers are in the air. And they likely don't come back to base unless they need fuel. So they're just hovering, looking for news. And there are a lot of chases that occur in Los Angeles, but the choppers are not able to get there in time, so you rarely see them on television. But when you get one, the other chases that might be happening within 3 minutes of airtime away, they can get there like this, and then they broadcast live. So 1 chase, 2 chase, 3 chase, 4 chase. You get them all while the helicopters are still up in the air. Hence, thus, chases breed chases. I'm not by Doc Weiler, no. I do not frequent Dockweiler often. The Danilo Gallinari Federation would like a word about what? Flash Thunder says yes. Oh, it's TH. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so yeah, you Flash Thunder, World War II fan, World War II history fan in the chat. You're right, the TH. God, sorry about that. It's not the R, it's the TH. They can't enunciate the TH. Thunder. How close am I to the protests? 45 minutes to an hour, depending on traffic. That's all the way downtown. And it's by like the 101, 110 interchange, too. They shut it down yesterday. It's not the first time. They shut the shit down all the time because of protests. There's a reason why do not go to downtown unless it's for a game. Do not go to downtown LA. Do not. You're lucky if protests are if that's the only thing going on down there. Just so much crime. Any comment on Austin Ainge joining dad in Utah? I understand people just defaulting to this is another example of nepotism, but Austin Ainge has been in the front office with Boston a really long time. He is a major contribution to the guys that they drafted and developed, coaching the G League team. A lot of those trades that have been processed, he's as experienced as anyone in that regard. And you have to feel like it's going to be a seamless transition from Danny Ainge to Austin, considering Danny's relationship with Ryan Smith. So why would this not work? But this isn't just Kendall Roy taking over after the father moves on. This is not an episode of Succession. He's actually qualified. What's the best summer league I've been to? Zion versus RJ was a big night with the earthquake. And then that was when all the Russell Westbrook trade happened that night, Paul George. The Lonzo Ball, boy, was that a lot of hype. Is that when LeBron showed up wearing the Laker shorts? Best summer league. I remember a summer league where I was betting on Tyler Johnson like a madman. He was the best player at summer league, and then he got that big deal from the Miami Heat. That was a good one too. Might have been the summer of Andrew Wiggins getting traded from Cleveland to Minnesota. Hmm. Where do I put that Roland Garros final in all-time match list? All right. Well, yeah, I know everyone's going to be a prisoner of the moment, but the Australian Open final between Djokovic and Nadal. Then there was Nadal versus Federer at Wimbledon. I would say this is probably it's amongst those. It didn't stand out as like number one all time, but it's in that fraternity for sure. I didn't even wake up here on the West Coast until the fourth set began. It still felt like a marathon. Championship tennis, Grand Slam tennis is too many sets, okay? It takes too long. 5, 6 hours, and you guys are going to come at me and say, you're kidding me, right? Yesterday was amazing tennis. Okay, that was between number one versus number two in the world. The quality of the tennis that we witnessed yesterday is an anomaly for a reason. The rest of the men's tournament, when you're watching two nobodies struggle in the fourth and the fifth set, why is this taking 4 to 5 hours? A majority of the tennis is not worth that amount of time. And no one is going to sit there and watch for 6 straight hours unless it just happens to be number one versus number two in names of this magnitude. I'm not a fan of 5-set tennis. 3 is perfect. That's why I like the women's game more. What was the last really good movie I watched in theaters? I can't tell you the last time I watched a movie. The last movie I saw in a theater was the first Star Wars, like The Force Awakens. That's the last time I've been to a movie theater. Wow. Shame. I used to love going to the movies because movies were actually good and they weren't just running up the tab on IP that the studios owned with sequels. Like early 2000s, there would be 4 blockbuster bangers in the theaters at all times. I remember, I think you could go see, there was a time you could see Scary Movie, 8 Mile, Red Dragon. I'm trying to think in the Mamaroneck Theater there in New York. What was that 4th movie that was there? So many options, man. How quickly is this finals going to fall apart? Asks Jernzamo. Yeah, if Indiana loses game 3, which I expect them to, this is over in 5. This is their last stand in game 3. They've turned it into a 5-game series where they have to hold serve. The problem is that serve is coming from Alcaraz. Oh, right. Nadal versus Medvedev. That was a good one. Yeah. I would say that's up there as well. Australian Open's never going to get the same clout that these others are because the majority of the world is on a different like time zone and stuff. Yeah. Nadal Federer should be the number 1 match. 2 generational icons at their zenith. That match has got to be number 1. Was there a Sampras Agassi match back in the day? Nothing like that though. It's got to be Federer Nadal, and it's Wimbledon. It's like the Masters, right? Yeah, we do get hockey tonight. We do get some. I'll be watching. I'm going to be watching baseball as well as the hockey game. Is it a hockey match or a hockey game? 6.5. That's it on the over under. I mean, this is soared over. Even though I think they scored 7 total goals in game 1, it was 3-3 for a while. 6.5. That's light. Light. I'd be on the over here. What else you guys got? Oppenheimer in theaters was awesome. The problem is you can stream any movie for free, any show for free in 1080p from your home. I can watch Oppenheimer within days of it being released on a bootleg website like Flix HQ. 2 clicks, any show that you want. Why would I go get my ass up and go all the way to the theater and spend $35 on a ticket? Dolan would have fired Oppenheimer. USA would have lost the war. And Dolan, after 1 year of success from Oppenheimer, get out of here. Yeah. I wonder if I'm banned from the Garden. I haven't tried to go to the Garden in a while. But after I did that episode with Pablo Torre on Pablo Torre Finds Out, may have gotten banned. People have been banned for a lot less. They banned so many people. Just be a bummer. And that's why I don't want to go to a Knicks game, because I don't want to find out if I'm banned, because if I am, then I'll just give up. They'll lose me. I know. I would have to wear a mask to get in if I'm banned. I hope I'm not banned. I've never been against James Dolan either. I know what he is, but he's never going to sell the team. So it's like, why disrespect him? I want a 15-minute conversation with him. That's what I want, to be able to talk to him about things. Like, wishing ill upon him is going to get you nowhere. Are you actually banned from the Garden? Germzamo says the goals are going to calm down. There was some sloppiness in the first 2 games. Yeah, but they can finish, man. They can finish. McDavid and Marchand, those guys know how to finish out there. That hockey is so pure. Good puck. How do you know you're banned from the Garden? Did you try and show up? What did you do to get banned? Were you someone in the crowd who was yelling "Fire Dolan" or something, and then they kicked you out? Hoy Ballers asked, "Wob, what's the best Lord of the Rings?" I'll go with Return of the King. Even though the Fellowship should be, because it's the original. Return of the King. Zach says, I wished ill on him in Phil during the KP trade rumors, but you did it inside the arena? Did you how did they pick you out and then ban you? Because you were screaming it? That's a little ridiculous, but yeah, I don't. This is why people ask me, like, when was the last time I went to a Knicks game? I only go on the road, because if I show up to the arena and I learn that I'm banned, I will stop being a Knicks fan on the spot, and I don't want to ruin that. I've been a Knicks fan my whole life. I'm not going to support a team that's banned me. So by me not knowing, I can just continue. I live on the other side of the country anyway. The next time I'm going to a Knicks game is when they have an opportunity to close out the finals. I won't go to a game otherwise. I'm certainly not special. But I've never done anything publicly. I've worn a free Oakley shirt before, but I've never like wished James Dolan to die. I don't agree with everything he does, but I think I've gone about it in a professional, respectful manner. Fine by me. Just a dog chasing cars. Thrills in the chase. The Knicks playing with house money. I had them losing to the Celtics anyway, so there was no expectation for me after that. I've just seen too much, man. I've seen too much. So, like, you're going to get a very level headed opinion from me as a Knicks fan, which is probably a rarity considering all of those zombies that are on the street. What's that line for game 5, by the way? I haven't looked yet. My guess is 5 or game 3. Sorry. Game 3, 5.5. OKC's 5.5 point favorites. Oh my God. They were 11-point favorites last night. I had the Pacers in the first half, and OKC continues to blow the doors off of everyone. Laying minus 205 on the road. Man, OKC is good. This is as big of a line as Denver in Miami. Look at this shit, man. I can't lay 5.5. What's 5? 5's minus 111. Thank God ProfitX gives me such. It's not a chop shop. Who's my favorite Thunder or Pacers role player? Probably Caruso. Just such a stellar defender. You have to have a Caruso on your team to win a title. Wow, what's your favorite Knicks season OAT? What is OAT? Off-season acquisition target? I had no clue what OAT is. I think that's what OAT means. Well, the Knicks don't have any money to spend. What are you going to do? Bring in Brook Lopez? He's the only unrestricted free agent worth anything, not named Naz Reid. These guys are getting like $40 million a pop, probably. The Knicks can pay $4 million. Oh, I thought I was onto something. OAT equals of all time. Oh, what was my favorite Knicks season of all time? 94. Yeah, 94. Even though LJ 4-point play. Either 94 or Linsanity. Linsanity, man. The entire city dropped what they were doing. Didn't matter. You stopped to go watch that Knicks at Raptors game where he pulls up on Jose Calderon. Knicks Lakers at the Garden, I still think is probably on the Mount Rushmore of Garden pops when he hit the spin move on Derek Fisher and the 3 in the corner. That Knicks team was so bad too. Jeremy Lin, Steve Novak, because Melo was hurt. Jared Jeffries, Tony Douglas. Who else? Who am I missing in the front court? Oh my God, they're so bad. Walker. Oh my God. That was just pure insanity, man. Amari was hurt too. Where am I going if I'm banned from the Garden? Away from the NBA at last. Quentin Richardson was on that team. Oh my God. Q Rich, Amari. If Carmelo doesn't come back, does Linsanity continue to the play? Well, Lin got hurt too. That was the Amari punching the fire hydrant in Miami. Tyson Chandler was there. That was Tyson Chandler, Linsanity. Yeah, it was Tyson Chandler was definitely on the floor. I remember him picking up Jeremy Lin in the Toronto game. Because it started with the Nets, right? That's where Lin got put onto the floor when I think they were down by 10. Banged up. Here comes Jeremy Lin to the scores table. Shumpert was there. JR? it was JR. The fact that Linsanity coincided with the Lakers visiting the Garden during that 2-week stretch is actually insane when you think about it. What are the chances? Yeah, not only that, but it was an ABC primetime game. That is the biggest regular season game that has been felt. I don't think we felt a regular season game like that since then. Even like Jokic versus Embiid when they were battling for MVP. Even a return for Kyrie back to Boston. Nah, Luka going back to Dallas he already had played the Mavericks. It was towards the end of the season. There was some like Linsanity is just such a life outlier. We'll never see anything like that for as long as any of us are alive. If I could interview one Hall of Famer of my choosing, man, we have interviewed so many people on the show this year on Sirius XM. I got Roy Williams, John Starks, all my favorites. We just did Amari Stoudemire a couple of weeks ago. Well, the answer's got to be Jordan, right? Only because he doesn't do any media. Roy Williams was a big one for me, for sure. Have I ever been to a Blazer home game? No, but I passed by on the train. Can't say I enjoyed my Portland stay very much. I was staying downtown, and as you can imagine, it was a little rough. Hotel was nice, though. I do like Seattle. I got some family in Seattle. Every time I go to Seattle, it's always sunny. I have such a good streak of going to Seattle when it's nice weather. Like the one day. It's my level of tennis. My level of tennis is like country club, not pro, whatever a step below country club pro would be. I am pretty good, but not like anywhere close to being a pro, actual pro. Am I inclined to not follow the people that beg for follows? I get like 100 people per day that beg for follows from my account. It's just 100 people per day, easily. How Latino am I? Are you serious? My last name is Perez, okay? Figure it out. Just got an alert. Bitcoin's up to 110K. FOMO. I've been out for a little bit. I got to get back in. I was waiting on it to get into the 70s. And once again, allow me this opportunity to bitch about missing it by one day. Solana at $8. Bitcoin, I was going to rebuy at like 73, 74. I waited, I balked, and now it's all the way back up to 110. I sold at 69. Like a bum. You never heard me speak Spanish because I don't speak it that often, but I can understand it. Más o menos. I'm sleepy. It's nap time. When you get to this age, this is prime nap time. 4 p.m., right on the dot, Pacific time. Nice little chill day. Next time we do one of these, I think it's gonna Wednesday. NBA doesn't tip till Wednesday, so we'll have something to actually look forward to and bet on. But until then, it's been a pleasure, my friends. Shout out to our partners at ProfitX, as always. I just a quick side note, I did just about finish the 2025 season recap video. 25 minutes, and I can't make it any shorter. That much shit happened this year. I can't believe it. That video started at 10 minutes, then it got to like 17, but I have to include this stuff. The story of the season cannot be told without it. Do I have a hammock? I don't. I don't like sitting outside and sleeping because I don't like bugs. So I need to be in an area where it's bugless for me to get true sleep. All right, friends, it's been fun. Hopefully, I'll see you back here on Wednesday. I'll be around for chases tonight in case something transpires, but I don't believe it will because of all the coverage of the protests downtown. So the chances of a chase happening, unless it's within those premises, are quite low. But until then, it's your boy. I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Adios.